living in a defined area. So a community is a group of the same organisms, but a population is a group of the same organisms, but community is a group of populations that are different, because the community was a group of one type of species, it would be a really, really big population. I think that you can see where I'm coming from with this. So then, the next level is ecosystem. Ecosystem. So, this, these are the layers of this. These are the layers of this. These are the layers of this. So it's kind of, an add-on, as you can see. Organism, and then you add on, species, and then you get the population, then the community, and then you get the ecosystem. It's all in the levels, small and then wide, So, ecosystem. So, it's all the communities. But this is what an ecosystem is. It's all of the communities, all the populations, all the species, all of the organisms, with the physical environment. In the same area. So, it's an area with all the different communities, all the different organisms with the physical environment. So, with the, all the communities, all the living organisms, together with the physical environment, in an area is an ecosystem. So, for example, like a swamp would be an ecosystem. A desert would be an ecosystem. So, now we're going to get to biome. That's going to be the next level. I think that you can see how this is going. So, a biome is a group of ecosystems that are together, okay? So biome is a group of ecosystems, an ecosystem is a group of communities, a community is a group of population, a population is a group of species, and a species is a group of organisms, basically. So it's all in groups. That's the real thing. So, biomes share similar, that's not spelled right, climates and organisms. So biome is a group of ecosystems, and remember that an ecosystem is, all the organisms in an area with the physical environment. A biome is all the groups of ecosystems together in one thing, together with all of them, in one thing, which would be like a continent, you know, or country that share similar climates and different or similar organisms, the biome, and biosphere is all the biomes. So smallest to largest. So all the biomes, all of the living things in the world. All of the living and physical environment. So all the living organisms and physical environments in the world. So this is the top level. All of these things right here, all of these things, so organism, species, population, community, ecosystem, biome, all those things revolve around the biosphere, you can see, and all of these things revolve around the biome, all of these things, the ecosystem, these two things, the community, these three things, the community, these two things, the population, this one thing, the species. So you can see how that plays out. Okay, so we have an organism. A species is a group of organisms. Population is a group of species. Community is a group of populations. Ecosystems, group of communities. Biome is a group of ecosystems. Biosphere is all of the biomes. Okay, so or group of biomes. So that's really what you need to remember. So you need to remember the order of these things, but also, the definitions of, all the specifics. Like, you can't just say, species, population is a group of species. You need to be, specific. So population is, as it said, a group of species living in an area. A group of species, where do they live? You need that living in a defined area. So the full definition of these types of things. And then the community, the thing that you need to remember about community is that, as I said this earlier, it's a group of different populations living in one area. And then you take all of that with the physical environment as ecosystem. But for community, if you had all of the same populations living in a defined, all the same populations living together in a defined area, that would not be a community. It would be one huge population. I think that you can all see what I'm saying. And so, ecosystem, with the physical environment. Biome is a group of ecosystems showing similar climates. Climates like, that is really, a type of weather that lasts for a very, very long time in a certain place. Biome, all the a group of ecosystems, similar climate, similar different organisms. And biosphere, as you should know, is all of the biomes in the world, all the living things, and all of the environments. So we talked about this, okay, and I don't think that there's really a whole lot to explain with this. But now we're going to be moving on to the global systems. And I'm going to talk about prefixes of how to remember these and also how they interact. So, we're going to be starting out with the biosphere. You already know what the biosphere is. So the biosphere is all of the living. So all of these encompass the astrological elements, the 4 astrological elements. And if you're at Maya Minton, maybe at other dimensions you're getting the missing element by Deborah Silverman. So, if I had to classify this, I would have to say that this would be... Okay, I'm giving it away. So, biosphere. Biosphere, if you think about this prefix here, bio. Bio means living. Bio is prefix that means life. Biosphere is the sphere of all of the life on Earth. So biosphere is all of the life on Earth. So, it's all the life, like the trees, the animals, the humans, all those kind of things. So, we already looked at this. So, life on Earth and all life parts on Earth. So, all the life on Earth and all the parts where life exists is all, is the biosphere. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Then the atmosphere. Now, the way of looking at the atmosphere really comes from looking at the prefix. Now, I want you to come up with your own little hint, way of remembering what I'm talking about. And we're going to be getting into one of those things a little bit later, a couple of days from now. But atmosphere. So here's a little hint. Here's one hint. And this may be, less than obvious one. But AT, atmosphere. Atmosphere. What type of thing in chemistry looks and sounds similar to atmo? Atmo. Atmo. Now, what does that sound like in scientific terms? No, that's not what I'm getting at. So if you had to take at, and then you have mo, switch the letters around. AT, instead of ATMO, you have ATOM. And you already learned about that in the schooling room. So that word is atom. Those atoms in the atmosphere, those atoms and molecules and particles of vapors in the atmosphere. Okay, so that's one hint for being able to remember that. And then here's something else. What is something that you will not survive without? What is something that you need to be able to breathe? And there is a way of transportation that goes into into the skies, into the atmospheres, that travels through the sky that can take you to anywhere in your country, in the world. And what is the first syllable of that way of transportation? Okay. Well, fill in the blank. When you go on to the airport, what do you get on? Yes, an airplane. Airplane. So the first syllable of airplane is air. Air, and that is what, makes perfect sense. Because it's an airplane, it goes in the air, in the atmosphere. The atmosphere is all of the all of the air. It's not just the sky and not just the but it's all of the air. Atmosphere is all of the air that we breathe with and need to survive with. So up in the sky and then everywhere. So if we had to look at astrological elements, I'd say that biosphere. This is tricky. So biosphere would be the element of Earth, because if you think about Earth, normal living things. Atmosphere would be the element of air. I think about Earth, grounded, practical, all these things. Atmosphere, the element of air. Talking, thinking, communicating, learning. Um, you know, socializing. And the astrological signs. So then the atmosphere is all of the air. So then we're going to be going down to the hydrosphere. Now we're going to be taking a look at this little prefix right here. So hydro, like hydroxide. What is that prefix like? I think it's on the on the periodic table or something. But what is hydro? Somebody tell me what hydro is. Yes, water. Yes, So it's basically this sphere, but what's most important is, what really tells the definition is these little prefixes here. So, bio is one word itself. It doesn't need the sphere, but it's the sphere of the living, say the sphere of the air, So look at the prefixes. So hydrosphere is the water. So hydrosphere is all of the water on the planet. All of the water. That's really, really important to remember. All of the water. It isn't just the oceans. It's lakes, rivers, streams, comes out of your faucet, the water on grass and leaves. And it can even be it's like water vapors or underground water. But it's all the water. It's like every bit of water, and in the areas where water is. Okay, and in the areas of water is. Atmosphere, air, there's no area because air is everywhere. Air is everywhere. But hydrosphere, those areas for water, just like those areas for life. It doesn't exist everywhere. So So then this would be water. So we have the element of air. We have the element of water. And water deals with security, and it deals with depth and motion. That's what water is in comfort for life and yum yum and family and all that kind of thing. So then, last but not least, we have geosphere. Geo. So I think of earth science. Like, what do you study in earth science? Yes, that would be all of, again, look at the prefixes. Rocks. All the rocks and all the ground. So this would be, the biosphere is biology, but you might be thinking, why are you learning these other three? But you need to understand these other three because they're quite important in biology. So biology, atmosphere, and hydrosphere are like physical science, and also I hope that you're writing this down, jotting this down on your page. And geosphere is earth science. Okay, so geosphere is all the rock. It also be molten lava and all the ground. Okay, so that's what geosphere really is. So that would be the element of fire, because if you think about volcanoes, they release fire. So fire, heal. So the next question is, how do these, you know, how do these interact with each other? Let's actually start with the biosphere to let's see here. Biosphere to the atmosphere. How does the biosphere interact with the atmosphere? Somebody use some deductive reasoning and figure it out. Okay, good. That's a good idea. So, when we're breathing and we're, living, I want to say, then we affect the atmosphere through making the earth hotter, making like global warming. It's a really, really great point. And also, yeah, most definitely, we impact it in a lot of ways with um, breathing and also birds and um, the atmosphere and a lot of and we as humans, all the living organisms breathe air, and that's what the atmosphere is. Okay, so that's another thing. Does anybody else have any other ideas? Okay, so and then vice versa. So how does the let's see here. How does the atmosphere affect the hydrosphere? Okay, all right. Um. Oh, okay. Well, okay. I just realized that the bus is here for you all to go to. So we're gonna pick this up back again tomorrow. Okay. Thank you very, very much for coming. I will see you in a couple days, hopefully. Okay, so you can all leave, and thank you very, very much for coming today.